Good evening and welcome to the City of Battle Creek, Michigan and the Battle Creek City Commission meeting for February 21st, 2023.
That's right.
It is a few minutes past 7 o'clock. I thank you for being here this evening. We're going to start off with our invocation, and we'll have a moment of silence for our invocation, and then we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance, and I'll call upon Commissioner Patrick O'Donnell to lead us in the pledge.
Excuse me, Mayor. Could we have Commissioner Simmons announce that he's participating remotely? He doesn't need to say where he is, but it's because of military duty. We need to have that at the outset.
All right, we're going to take a break and ask Commissioner Simmons to identify yourself and where you're from.
Just that he's participating remotely.
We can't tell where he's at.
Okay, if you can't
We're
tell
trying
us.
to get him on video, so hang on, I think they're looking.
All right.
Okay, he's having a
That's
little.
fine because he's not participating yet.
All right, no problem. So we'll stand for a moment of silence and then we'll have our pledge by
Hello,
Commissioner.
but I'm not getting any audio back.
He's on.
Commissioner O'Donnell.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any progress on Commissioner Simmons?
No.
Okay. Just so the public knows, Commissioner Simmons is serving the government, and there's a new state statute that allows us to incorporate him as long as he's serving the government in his profession. And he will be with us and be able to vote in the meeting, but he can't disclose where his location is. So we're going to move on and have our roll call vote.
Commissioner Ballard,
Present.
Commissioner Lance.
Here.
Commissioner Morris is absent. Commissioner O'Donnell,
Here.
Mayor Banky,
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Present.
Commissioner Simmons.
Let's mark him here, and then he'll identify himself in a few minutes, if you don't mind.
Okay. Commissioner Smith
Present.
and Vice Mayor Sophia. Here. Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is a presentation. I'm going to turn it over to our city manager, Rebecca Fleury.
Thanks, Mayor. Trying to catch up myself here. So we have our staff presentation this evening, so it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Jarrett Gearing. He is our city engineer, and he's going to talk about some of the DPW construction projects that are scheduled for our construction season coming up. You can go right up to that podium, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. Thanks for having me here. So this is our presentation for our 2023 construction projects in engineering. So our engineering team in DPW is 9 members. We did 12 projects last year. We have 15 projects currently on the schedule for right now. This is our project engineering map. It's available to the public on our GIS website. The different colors mean different things. You'll see in a minute. First project we have up is Skyline Hill Brady Roundabout. This is conjunction with the Air Force for their new entrance. Next project, we're calling it 2022 infrastructure. It got delayed due to some materials. It is down Helmer Road, underneath of I-94, down Beckley Road, and ending at Beckley and Mingus. Next project is Sisson Sewer. Sisson is off of Riverside Drive. There's a very shallow sewer main down there. A lot of people have frozen laterals, so we're going to put a lift station in and lower the main to help with that. Kalamazoo River Channel maintenance is directed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They came out last fall, did a walkthrough with some DPW staff. They're currently preparing a report that they will present to us here in the next few weeks that will tell us what exactly we have to do with that. Mingus Lift Station, that is at the intersection of Capitol and Wawatasi. It's one of our largest lift stations in Battle Creek. So we are going to demo the old lift station building, update it to our current city standards that were developed, and it will provide extra capacity for our sewer system. This is an example. As you can see, the picture on the left is the current arrangement with the building. The picture on the right is similar to what you'll see when we're done. There'll be no more above ground structures, just a control panel. 22 Columbia bid drainage, again, another project that was supposed to go last year that got held up due to some materials. This is water main on Foster and Lakeview. And then there are several connections from the storm system in Columbia to drainage ponds adjacent to Columbia. There's not a lot of room out there for businesses to expand with our current stormwater guidelines that are in there. So doing this will allow them to dump into those ponds and not have to build their own. So. Helmer Road Beacon at Potter's Drive. This was requested by the residents of that neighborhood there at Potter's Drive. There's been some accidents with them pulling out. So we're going to put a beacon in to make people aware there's a driveway there. 2023 infrastructure improvements. We have two of them going in the same year. This is Euclid and Inn Street.
Next screen.
Union Street Bridge rehab. We have a consultant that comes every 2 years, does inspections of our bridges. This one was in pretty bad repair, so Union Street Bridge will get completely redone, substructure, superstructure, everything. 2023 STP Capitol Avenue. We're going to do Capitol Avenue from Rebecca to Van Buren. This is in line with the state, so many of you are familiar with BCATS. It's our MPO in the area. They allowed us some money every year. This is the road we chose to do this year. 2023 CPM chip seal. It's everybody's least favorite project. So this will be in what we call the numbered streets. So basically 28th Street to 33rd Street from Columbia to Gogwak. 32nd and 33rd don't run that whole length, but it'll be similar area. North Avenue is another one that we got state money. We're splitting this with the Calhoun County Road Commission. Our half of it is Roosevelt to the city limits. They'll pick up at the city limits and go out to Morgan Road. 2023 lead service line replacement continues citywide. It stays ahead of our future planned projects. It's done in conjunction with all of our water main projects. We're trying to get a head start on it because our deadline is 2045 to have them all done. So, 2023 sewer inspection. This is a process we go through. The entire city's on a rotation. We video any sewers that are deemed at risk or old. We clean the ones that need to clean, and it identifies areas for us to go through and replace before we potentially have a sinkhole or a break. 2023 rehab, this is the big one. So rehab is everything from sidewalks, milling up the existing road surface and repaving. It's in what we call the Piper Park neighborhood, so McKinley and Wabash from Capitol to Emmett, Broad Street from Capitol to Bryant, Piper from Sherman to Bryant, Bryant from Wabash to Convis, Radley from Wabash to Woodward, and then Sherman from Broad to East Avenue, and then also from McKinley to Wabash. And then MDOT has a couple of projects that I know you're all aware of. The first one being their I-94 design build that includes the Capitol Avenue Bridge reconstruction. And then along with that project, we are going to redo the traffic signals at Capitol and Beckley Avenue. So, and that is what we currently have on the list right now.
Thank you, Jared. Are there any questions of Jared? Commissioner Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was just curious if you have a percentage of the lead sewer lines that have been replaced thus far.
Oh, if I knew you were going
Doesn't
to
need
ask
to be
that question, I
specific. Won't hold
probably
you to
would.
it.
Our goal right now is about 200 a year.
Okay.
That's roughly 5% of the whole thing. We've been working on it for 2 years. We did hit a snag last year due to material supply, and came up a little short. We only did about 140.
Just getting off the ground then.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Any other questions? Jared, thank you very much. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think that Commissioner Simmons can hear us and can speak, so I will ask him to affirm that he is here and virtual.
Yeah, Rebecca, thank you so much. The workshop worked great. I was able to participate, but for whatever reason, when I think AccessVision took control of it, it kind of got booted off. I could see you all, but I couldn't hear. So when you took attendance, I don't think I could chime in. But I am here joining you remotely. I am on military orders currently, and appreciate the opportunity under the Michigan Open Meetings Act and our city ordinance to still be able to participate while I'm on duty. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to ask the city attorney, did he say everything he needed to say?
Perfect.
Thank you. Chris, thank you, and enjoy the meeting.
And Chris, we can see you, just so you know, you are now projecting on our video.
How exciting. Thank you.
All right, Rebecca, take it away.
Yes, I get to introduce two great staff members this evening. Linda Morrison is joining us tonight. She's our Revenue Services Director. She's going to talk about our interim financial statements for the period that ends December 31st, 2022. I don't have to tell you, Linda is a great leader and has wonderful staff. She's welcoming a lot of new staff as she prepares for retirement. Even though I told her I'm not going to sign the paper for her to retire, she is thinking about retirement. But there's a lot of work that goes into preparing these quarterly statements, and a lot of things have to close for them to be able to do it. Sometimes I get questions about, well, why are we just getting December 31st? Well, some of those things have just closed in February, late January or February, and so they have to continually work on getting those things closed and then the financial statements run and then balanced. It's very important that they balance, and Linda and her team do a really good job. So she's going to talk to you about the ending quarter of 2022.
And we all know how accountants love to balance, so here we are. So thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and Rebecca for giving me the opportunity to talk with you about the December 31st, 2022 interim financial statements. So this will be 6 months worth of activity. The PDF of my report is attached to your agenda, and everyone will be able to see that on the city's website in the finance budget section. This budget status report highlights the general fund. My message is pretty consistent. At this time of year, I'm usually telling everybody to relax a little bit and don't get too excited about the bottom line number of revenue over expenditures in the general fund. All of the city's property tax is billed and recognized as revenue in the first and second quarters. And that sustained us, throughout the course of the year. So that flows through directly to the bottom line. So if you were to look at the bottom line at the last page of the financial statements, you would see revenue over expenditures of about $6.3 million. That's compared to about $6.8 million for the same 6-month period last year. The first line item on the financial statements themselves shows city income tax revenue for the current year. That amount is almost $7.7 million for the 6 months. This is an 11.23% increase over the same period a year ago. It's a combination of increases in personal as well as corporate and a decrease in refunds. In the narrative report that's attached to your agenda, there's a table that shows those different sections of city income tax so you can see the changes year over year. Also on a good note, state shared revenue is 6% higher in the statutory section and 14.5% higher for constitutional than the prior year. That's good to see the state passing down some of their their revenues, that they're, exceeding maybe what their expectations were. These items are 48.2% and 59.7% of budget respectively for the 6-month period. On the expenditure side, total general fund expenditures are at 48% of budget and are 5% higher than the prior year. There are continued challenges in this tight labor market that's had an impact on retention and recruitment of staff. As Rebecca mentioned, in the finance department alone, we have played some musical chairs. We've had a vacancy for the last 3 months with a new employee who started today. Thank you, thank you. So it's a challenge all across the organization to hire and retain staff. That calls for some creative hiring practices, and in some instances, the use of an outside recruitment service. The current year budget also includes a transit subsidy that comes back up to pre-COVID levels, back to the amounts that we were paying in 2019. We were able to decrease that subsidy to transit over the last few years. They were seeing an influx of federal funds, COVID-type funds, but that increase of the prior year amount to transit was about $230,000. This current year budget includes $938,000 transit subsidy. This is also the first year that the general fund is making a contribution to the airport as the airport tries to reduce its reliance on the Battle Creek Tax Increment Financing Authority. We in accounting, we love our acronyms, but I think Jarrett might have taken the cake with all the acronyms he had on his, but I'm trying to compete here. So the general fund budget also includes $2.5 million in, I'll use my acronym, ARPA, American Rescue Plan Act, federal dollars as other financing sources, and that's in the budget. There has been no revenue recognized, and there's no revenue in the numbers that we're looking at in actual as of 12/31/22. Discussion continues about when, at what point in time during this fiscal year, or if we will be recognizing those revenues as for general governmental services. So does anyone have any questions?
Commissioner Smith has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Can you elaborate for me, just for my benefit, the difference between the personal and partnership income tax collections and what constitutes a corporate income tax what's the difference between them?
So if I'm an 1120 form filer, I have a corporation. If I'm a corporation, I may have to pay income tax. That goes into the corporate line item. All the withholdings for workers and for when you file your own 1040, that goes into the personal side.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Strictly, yes, thank you very
Yes,
much.
you're welcome.
Any other questions?
Mayor,
Yes, Roger.
I'm right at the very beginning. You have personal and partnership, corporate, and refunds.
Yep.
And in the third column over, you have the differences.
Yep.
When I calculate the 639,266 and the 72,058, and I subtract, I would think, in parentheses, 63,487, I get 647,837, not 774,811. I just want to make sure.
But I think the variance, it's a positive variance between the 2 years. Positive meaning we haven't paid out as much in refunds in the current fiscal year as we did in the prior fiscal year. So that makes the difference, what do I want to say, bigger from last year to this year. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It's hard to do the math that way,
Right.
but really that's a variance.
It's a variance.
It's a positive variance,
Okay.
okay? I'll double check the math when I go back.
And the
but make sure
percentage,
that-
if it makes a difference, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you very much.
We've got, what, 3 more reports from you?
Well, I think I'll be handing over to Aaron pretty soon, so he gets the hang of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions.
There were none?
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Petitions, communications, and reports.
Yes, an appeal was filed on FOIA number 23-124 and it will be on the agenda for the first meeting in March, which is consistent with the timeline in our guidelines and with state statute.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
You're welcome.
Next item on our agenda is a public hearing. When you're ready.
This public hearing is for the purpose of receiving public comments on housing and community development needs for the city's 2023-24 Annual Action Plan.
Declare the public hearing open. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Any commission comments? Declare the public hearing closed. Next item on our agenda is the adoption of Ordinance 71 for Ordinance 01-2023. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Chapter 1064 contains parameters as to collection days and the times that refuse can be collected to better ensure the peace and tranquility of residential neighborhoods. On rare occasions, such as this past December when a blizzard was forecast and came to fruition, the city contractor requested to begin collection a half hour early to get ahead of the storm and to complete all refuse collection. This resolution seeks to adopt ordinance number 01-2023 to amend sections 25 and 55K of Chapter 1064, Garbage and Rubbish Collection and Disposal, to allow the city manager to temporarily alter pickup days and/or times in response to an extreme weather event. This resolution also seeks to adopt ungendered language.
I move to adopt Resolution 71.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve the adoption of Ordinance 71. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Any commission comments? Please vote on the adoption of Ordinance 01-2023. Now we'll see if Chris's vote really counts.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. The adoption of Ordinance 01-2023 has been approved. Good job, everyone. Next item on our agenda is the resolution Ordinance 02-2023. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Chapter 430 of ordinances related to snow emergencies has not been updated for more than 40 years. These amendments, which were introduced at the February 7, 2023 City Commission meeting, are proposed to update methods of communicating matters related to snow and other weather-related emergencies to residents and visitors to the city, including posting to the city website. This resolution seeks to adopt ordinance number 02-2023 to amend sections 02 through 06 of Chapter 430 Snow Emergencies, to update methods of communication, ungender language, and allow the city manager to take additional steps related to city streets and sidewalks as deemed necessary.
I move to approve Resolution 72.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Ordinance 02-2023. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, John.
John Kennefic, 234 South Avenue. What caught me off guard or didn't understand in this adoption of an ordinance is it says additional steps related to city streets and sidewalks. I can understand the concept of making sure your vehicles are off the street so the snowplows can get in there to do their job without being inhibited by cars that are parked in the street. But I'm puzzled by the word sidewalks as deemed necessary. What exactly is an emergency where you would come across a situation where somebody, say as an example, pulled their vehicle onto the sidewalk so that the street was open for snow plowing during an emergency situation? Are they going to be cited? What's the purpose of this sidewalk as deemed necessary as an emergency snow service? It's not said here. I can understand the streets, I just don't understand the sidewalks. Are you going to tell people that when the snow comes down, you've got to be out there in sub-zero weather during emergency situations and shovel your the city sidewalks back into the street? Or are you going to give them a time when they pile up snow on the corners of the intersections because that's where they could only put the excess of snow? Are you going to make them responsible for that on their sidewalks that are in the public right-of-way? Nothing is said here. So it's got me puzzled. It's so vague and generalized. I can't understand what the use of sidewalks is. I'd hope somebody out there would explain this, because it Doesn't seem like an emergency on a sidewalk, but yeah, in the streets, yes, but not for the sidewalk. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, any commission comments? Please vote on the approval of or the adoption of ordinance 02-2023. Ordinance 02-2023 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. If you'd like to make a public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before making your comment and indicate which resolutions you are speaking to. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Seeing none, commission comment regarding meeting business?
I'll move to approve the consent resolution.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions by the commission on the consent agenda? Seeing none, please vote on the consent agenda. The consent agenda has been approved. Next item on our agenda is resolutions not included in this consent agenda. Madam Clerk, when you're ready, Resolution 80.
On December 15, 2021, the City of Battle Creek and Neighborhoods Incorporated of Battle Creek, NIBC, executed an agreement for a tenant-based rental assistance, TBRA, program to help Battle Creek households achieve residential stability and prevent homelessness. This amendment extends the period of performance through December 31, 2023, and adds an additional $42,000 from the city's 2020-21 home allocation. This will provide NIBC additional time to continue to make rent payments on behalf of tenants that have already committed funds to assisting, as well as enable them to meet the needs of additional low-income households experiencing a housing emergency. This resolution seeks authorization from the city manager to execute an amendment to the agreement with Neighborhoods Incorporated of Battle Creek dated the 15th day of December 2021 to provide tenant-based rental assistance.
Move to approve Resolution 80.
Support.
It's moved and supported to approve Resolution 80. Are there any questions by the commission on Resolution 80? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 80?
Commissioner Smith?
I'm having some IT issues, pardon me.
Okay.
But it's a yes if we can hold that for the record.
Resolution 80 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 81, ma'am. Madam Clerk, I'm sorry.
A solicitation was issued January 4, 2023 for the Lakeview Storage Building project located at 26 South 20th Street. This project scope consists of a renovation or a 75-foot by 57-foot pole construction storage building. Improvements will include removal of interior walls, bathroom heating elements, overhead and main doors, new ADA bathrooms, fans, heating units, epoxy floor treatment, 16-foot overhead door, man doors, metal siding and roofing, 20-foot south building expansion, site work grading, drainage, and paving per plans. This resolution seeks acceptance of the lowest responsible bid for Lakeview Storage Building Project at 26 South 20th Street from Gutsky Construction LLC in an estimated amount of $663,255.56 with unit prices prevailing.
Move to approve Resolution 81.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 81. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 81?
Madam Clerk, I'm still having an IT issue, but it's a yes for Commissioner Smith.
Thank you.
Weird thing to say.
Resolution 81 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 82. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
A solicitation was issued January 13, 2023 for the Bailey Park Lighting Project. This project consists of 3 parts. 1, parking lot lighting, 2, concourse lighting, and 3, softball field lighting. This resolution seeks acceptance of the lowest responsible bid for Bailey Parking Lighting Project from J. Rank Electric Incorporated in a not-to-exceed amount of $218,050.
Move to approve Resolution 82.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 82. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 82?
Yes. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith, go ahead and just say it loud enough for everybody.
Yes.
Thank you.
Resolution 82 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is general public comment. If you'd like to make a general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. Are there any public comments at this time? Are there any public comments? Yes, John.
John Kennefic, 234 South Avenue. In 2020, the citizens of Battle Creek gave back to the city government of Battle Creek by charged income tax on the food they ate. They gave back $2,400,000. In 2021, the citizens of Battle Creek were taxed for their food. They gave back to the government in income tax $2,490,000. If you bother to look at the next one coming out, which is what you're paying for this year, which you'll be giving back to the city of Battle Creek, it'll be $2,550,000 of income tax on the food the citizens of Battle Creek eat. Now, does this make any sense? People go to like Myers or Walmart. No one charges them income tax, specifically city income tax. I never said that they charged income tax when you went to the store. They charge income tax when you fill out your Battle Creek 1040. Let me explain to you how this works. Every year in October, there's a committee at the state level that determines how much it costs to feed one person in the state of Michigan. You'll find that on your form 2022 Michigan 1040, line 9A. It's $5,000 per person. As a simple example, if you're a husband and wife and have 2 children, you will write off $5,000 per person, or $20,000 that you don't have to pay income tax on, because that's required to feed each one of those citizens. Now comes 1040 Battle Creek form that you'll fill out. Line 21. It's not $5,000 a person, it's $750 a person. What happens here is the government of Battle Creek charges the difference between the $5,000 that the state says it costs to feed one person and the city government's concept of $750 per person. If you do the math, it's really kind of simple. You take the $5,000 and minus off the $750 of the city level, leaves you with $4,250. That's what the government of Battle Creek charges income tax on the food you eat. Then you simply multiply that by 1%, which is $42.50 per taxpayer has to pay back to the government of Battle Creek. For every dollar of that $42.50, the government receives $60,000. You can thank Ken Tushiyama, the city manager, that provided that information both to the commission and to the public at a public time when you're doing budgets about 12, 13 years ago. He wanted to change the exemption rate from $750 per person, down to $600, having a $90,000 increase. So when you're talking about too much money in Battle Creek, this is one of the things. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Jerry Steiner.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jerry Steiner. I live at 115 South 26th Street. And Madam Clerk, before you begin, Mayor Binky, members of the City Commission, I'd like a few extra minutes. If you would indulge me that time, I think the comments I'll make tonight will not only resonate amongst the members, but will resonate amongst the voters. So if you could allow me that time, I would appreciate it.
Let's go use up the first 3 minutes, and then we'll make our decision.
All right. Look, I know the majority of you heard about what happened with the juveniles here in Battle Creek, 13 to 14-year-old executing a 17-year-old. I know that whoever came forward is to be applauded. But my emphasis tonight is not only personal, it's community-wide. We have almost 100 unsolved murders here in Battle Creek. And I had a conversation with the mayor about a murder that was committed last October. An 81-year-old woman in a wheelchair was stabbed 14 times. I've seen one newspaper article about it. I haven't seen anything else. My point is this. If in fact we are a community bound by the same principles, then why on earth can't we find out who stabbed a woman in a wheelchair, 81 years old, 14 times? Take a minute, y'all, to figure out how long it takes to stab somebody 14 times. And we can't rely solely on the police. They can't do it all. So I'm sending out a message to the community. In general, the black community. We have got to stop letting killers walk amongst us. It's unheard of. And if everybody tells me, Jerry, why do you always go in front of the city commission and the people and speak out? Well, my grandmama would say, somebody got to do it. I don't mind being up here because I know I'm a messenger. But what I want each and every one of you to know is personal with me. My stepfather was killed in 1975. No one has ever been brought forward to account for their actions. Robert Moss chased my mama for 30 years until she finally married him because she was too busy chasing my daddy. Now, I don't live in a glass house, and what I can tell you can be documented. If in fact, am I allowed some more time or what?
Let's, 1 more minute, okay? I understand.
I appreciate it. I know a lot of people don't want to hear what Jerry Steiner got to say because it rubs wrong. Hey, I can't help that. I know one thing for sure, and I found out in this political arena I've been thrust into because I was sitting on my butt 4 years ago. Wasn't thinking about standing in front of the city commission for any reason, but I'm here now. And because I am a messenger, I got to tell you, it's going to be a time when you're going to wish that you did more to solve these unsolved murders. Now, I guess my minute has all but elapsed, but my conversation on the issue will never die. And I'm going to leave you like I leave you every time I come up in here. Peace.
Thank you, Jerry Steiner. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, Adam.
Adam Heikkila, former Bedford Township Supervisor. I
Great call.
was here the last meeting talking about a FOIA request that I put in talk about an appeal for that. And not surprisingly, instead of getting a reduction as I asked for, I instead received a revised good faith estimate back. Started out $22.70 higher than what I actually gave. And it was for 10 cents each for copies. Copies that I didn't ask for because I asked for digital. Those copies would be for paper copies that you have to get. I had to email back again and say, well, I'm still confused by this because I didn't ask for any copies. I then received another one back, but that one again was still higher than the original one. It's almost like someone like one on the board here, mayor or somebody, was instructed the clerk to make sure that I didn't get a reduction, but that it was higher even. Because that's the kind of games that I know that you politicians in this community play. So I'm absolutely disgusted. Why now then is there added on something for duplication? It's like we had to add something on just to make it higher cost. It's only a couple dollars higher than my original cost. But these are the kind of games that this community plays, that you've played with many people. I'm not the only one that's been jerked around in this kind of manner. Because you allow things like certain people to get an extra minute of time, right? People that, want to say something that you might want to hear. But if it's something that the public really needs to hear about you, oh, no way you want to let that happen. It's a pattern. It's a pattern that we continue to see. And so I've already had people tell me they'll pay for this FOIA request that I asked for. I mean, I'm going to get this information, but you all need to do it the correct way. It's still not done correctly. So the appeal is going forward still, because I need that official appeal done, Vicki. So, yeah, I mean, we need to stop the games. And it is a game. It's a dirty game for some of you, because we view you as dirty politicians.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, commission comments? Seeing none?
I would like to make a comment. I think when people come here and they speak and they elevate themselves by using a title or a former title, I believe that it really should be fully complete. And if the person that wants to use those titles, please use the complete one and what happened totally. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other commission comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll adjourn our meeting. Thank you very much for attending our meeting tonight.